Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty intense dream sequence that throws two radical ideas about the afterlife right up against each other. One is all about total forgiveness, and the other, total self-responsibility. It's a huge question, so let's get right into it.
And really, this whole debate, it all boils down to this one simple question. Is forgiveness something we're just entitled to, no matter what we do? Or is it something we actually have a responsibility to work for and earn? This is the fundamental conflict we're going to unpack.
So here's the problem. At least according to a character in the dream named Abby, she claims that 3/4 of the entire world are living their lives as if nothing they do really matters in the end. And for her, that's not just some interesting statistic. It's a complete and total failure of the system. And you better believe she knows exactly who to blame.
Which brings us right to the heart of the accusation. Is the state of the world our fault? Or, as Abby argues with every fiber of her being, does the blame actually fall on the one figure who was supposed to guide everyone in the first place?
Okay, so this whole debate plays out between these three characters. You've got Abby, who is just fiery. She's the accuser, demanding justice. Then you have the savior, who takes on the role of a teacher, trying to lay out a different way of thinking. And all the while, you've got Evan, the person actually having the dream, just watching this whole thing unfold. It's in their conflict that these two opposing models for the afterlife really come to light.
All right, let's break down that first model, which is called the scapegoat system. Now, this is the worldview that Abby is fighting for, and she is absolutely convinced it's the right one.
In Abby's mind, all responsibility lies outside of us. You know, if there are tempters out there causing trouble, she says it was the Savior's job to get rid of them. The logic is, if some other force is really in control of your life, well then how can you be held accountable for your actions? It's basically a system that promises a complete, no-questions-asked bailout for every single mistake you could ever make.
And this is the core of her argument, right here. She calls this system spiritual socialism. It's the idea that all your spiritual debts just get automatically wiped clean by someone else. And in her view, that has created a world where nobody feels the need to take responsibility or even try to be better. But the savior, he comes back with a completely different model. He flips the whole idea on its head, shifting the focus away from some external fix and putting it right back on our own internal development, on self-mastery.
So the savior's model gets rid of this idea of one single scapegoat for everyone. Instead, he proposes something totally different: billions of personalized spiritual sponsors, one for every single soul, called a Christos. So you see, it's not a one-time bailout. It's more like having a personal trainer for your soul, for your entire life. And the key here, the really crucial part, is that salvation isn't some gift you just receive. It's a skill you have to learn. The Savior's role in this model isn't to pay off your debts. It's to show you what's possible, kind of like a parent showing a child how to walk. They can't do it for them, but they can inspire them to try, to get up and to learn on their own. This whole process of mastering yourself even has a name, Crysticism. It's a journey, right? It says you start out with this initial download of potential. Then, it's up to you to develop it through practice and discipline. As you do that, you build a connection with your personal sponsor, your Christos. And over time, you become Christified, which means you're not just a subject anymore, you're becoming a co-creator yourself.
Now, Abby isn't buying any of this. She's still pushing for that old plan of total, unconditional forgiveness. And right then, a new character shows up on the scene, offering exactly what she wants. And this is where the choice between the two paths becomes crystal clear.
And in walks Serpent. He's the ultimate salesman. And what's he selling? Basically spiritual junk food. He calls them religious socialism afterlife plans, a guaranteed ticket to paradise that requires zero effort, zero growth, zero responsibility. And he boasts that he's already sold this plan to half the world.
So this is it. This is the ultimate choice, laid out as clearly as it can be. On one side, you've got the path of empowerment, a teacher-apprentice relationship where you invest in yourself and become a co-creator. And on the other side, you have the path of enslavement, a servant-master relationship built on a debt you can never, ever repay. And there's the sales pitch, right there. It's so simple and so tempting. Just give up your responsibility. Give up your free will. Let someone else be in charge of everything. Sit back and relax. What could you possibly lose? It's a dangerous question, isn't it? So, after all this debate, all this back and forth, how does it all end? Well, for Evan, the dreamer, this whole abstract argument leads to a very personal and very powerful moment of clarity. Evan wakes up, but there's no neat and tidy answer waiting for him. Instead, the dream just shatters his old way of thinking. It's a wake-up call that forces him to look at his own life, his own power, and his own choices in a completely new light.
And that's the real takeaway here. The story doesn't pick a winner. It doesn't tell you which system is right. Instead, it completely changes the question. It moves you away from asking, who is going to save me, and toward this much more powerful question. The idea, it seems, is that the real journey isn't about finding a savior out there somewhere, but about learning to discover the creator that's already inside yourself.